Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief recap. As you can tell, actually, well, not tell. It's about 10:30 here on the West Coast. We had an awesome daily brief session with the crew here today. Actually, pretty active considering it is technically a holiday. So, happy Easter Monday. European markets are closed. Some North American institutions are open. Stock markets are open. I think it's a shortened session, but I don't know exactly the details. But we don't really get officially back to regular trading, full on board trading until tomorrow. But nonetheless, market is actively trading away here today. But, big word of caution. Be careful just getting too excited about big breakout moves here on these holiday sessions. Sometimes they can be traps. So just be careful, go slowly. And, of course, you don't need to FOMO. Follow your plan, all that kind of fun talk. Trade your setups, obey risk management, rinse and repeat. So in this thin holiday session, not really a big surprise. See, U.S. dollar index is basically just parked, going sideways here today. As I said there a moment ago, a lot of the sort of international money desk, especially Europeans, they're not even at the job here today. Do see a bit of the premium that was in risk-on assets coming out of the market here today. And actually, we spent some time in the daily brief here this morning looking at internal structure. It does, I do see a lot of similarities between the structure we're seeing on Bitcoin and the structure we're seeing in the stock market. So, kind of that risk on, risk off kind of conversation. Sometimes I show you this. Stocks off, Bitcoin off, oil off. So it looks to me like that sort of risk on sort of side of the market's a bit weak today. Bonds actually, interestingly enough, holding on to that recent little buy signal that we had, and now you can see it's still working. So it'd be really interesting to see if a nice little W comes in here. But so bonds kind of sideways here again. Government holidays, that kind of stuff, Easter holiday. But notice, look at the yen just powering higher here. So risk off kind of conversations. I see very AB equals CDE action. So if yen is starting to get going here in earnest, we'll see how it acts against its old highs. Then that would lend support for the bond ideas to still work. And then, of course, our buddy, the gold, put tweets out this morning to the effect of, it looks like we're accepting above this really important neckline. Julian, TRI's rock star trader right now, just killing the market. Had big old buy signals come off of this bullish resolution, and he's just loving it here today. I've talked with our audience today. If you wanted to try and sneak in, it looks like the gold's giving you another little window here. And sure enough, this little setup is just rocking and rolling, and it looks like the gold market is pressing to new highs as we speak. This is the futures market, so it is a delayed quote. I like to follow all of these guys, but you can see the spot market. Looks like silver's probably, whoops, now I'm not sure what the hell I just did there. Silver looks like it's just not trading in the spot market, but you can see the gold market is pressing higher here. So, on balance, higher highs and higher lows equals a bull market. Gold sure looks like it wants to continue marching its way higher. And I think for your guys, remember I showed you that wide inverted head and shoulders. Well, sure looks to me like she wants to head up into that 1950 area. And I think also, too, in the broiler chicken show yesterday, we showed you there's a hell of a lot of resistance up in that area. So I like this as a short-term objective. While the insanity is going on, while the momentum is still pointing higher, while the volume's still pouring in, while the lower time frame setups are still firing bullish, I don't see any reason why this can't work its way up here. And like I said, we're starting to actually start to see some turn now in the bond market back up. It still had this long working. We'll see how that goes. The only time will tell on this, but it is interesting to see that the risk-off assets are all starting to catch a bid, and risk on is starting to look a bit weaker here again. And I suppose, the irony of all of this is that we had said the oil market there, that 2 day rally seemed awfully fluffy. They've actually come out in the OPEC plus, which makes no sense to me at all. The United States is part of an embargo crew right now. Wait a minute, I thought the embargo was against the United States. What the hell's going on in this world? Um, so I don't have any faith in oil. I do understand there are some people that are hunting long setups, and frankly speaking, I don't mind that idea because you can see how far this oil has fallen. I mean, it's just completely collapsed. There will be some sort of dead cat bounce here, but I'm not interested in oil personally. Um, if I was going to be putting risk money to work, I'd much rather concentrate on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and things that are related to that story than put my money into oil. Dovetailing on over to the stock market, we had sort of talked recently, what does sort of a risk on market look like from the small cap stocks versus the large cap stocks. This is a great little tool to sort of tell you when the risk takers are actually feeling like getting back into the market. You can see, and everybody watching this should understand, this is actually an inside bar. Might actually even paint a harami. So we'll see how today closes. And then, of course, like we said, everybody's coming back to work in earnest if they're working at home, whatever, tomorrow. So we'll see how the Europeans come back and whether there is some risk appetite. But if we fire that inside bar failure, that to me says, the market's still pretty panicky. They're not coming back into small caps. And I think we had shown you, like if you look at the oil itself, here's an example of how that inside bar. So this was an inside bar of that big 2 day rally, and you can see how the market's just slowly worked its way lower. So that's kind of if risk off is indeed, risk on is indeed off, I don't see any reason why this thing shouldn't start melting back down to new lows. Now, interesting sort of bent on the crypto space in that Canada just recently launched an exchange traded fund that actually tracks Bitcoin. Woohoo, party! Now, you can see the price on this screen here, and it's not really the best representation. But I'm still curious as to whether this is quoted in Canada on the Canadian exchange in Canadian dollars or with the .u US dollars. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I had put out tweets this morning because if you look at their website, they even say the net asset value of this fund, and of course this isn't really much to work with here, but they say the net asset value of this fund is $9.24. So if this is quoted in Canadian dollars, okay, so there's obviously an exchange premium. But why are people paying up to $14 a share for this thing this morning? There is no way that the Canadian dollar is trading at 1.5 to the US dollar. So it's just a great analogy that, when the public comes in and buys these things, they don't really understand what it is they're actually buying. Now, I don't mind because, if we look at the Canadian dollar, I think it's sitting right now around 131 or something like that. 138 according to this on FXM. So 138, and actually that seems a bit high, but nonetheless, I don't know whether we really want to get sucked into being too bearish of the Canadian dollar here. Now, obviously, that was the big bull market. So, but I don't want to pay like 1.5. That's ridiculous. So maybe 1.38, fine. If we multiply 9.24 times 1.38, that would imply $12.75 Canadian. So with it sitting right now at $12.49, okay, we're starting to get into respectable territory. But the interesting thing is that, when we actually look at the Bitcoin price itself, it's kind of trending down. So do we really want to go and FOMO buy into this thing gapping higher? And I don't think that that's really in our best interest. I do want to start accumulating this, and frankly speaking, I was actually very surprised to see this morning. And my knee-jerk reaction just waking up is, what the fuck's going on here? But somebody on Twitter, and this is a good thing about social media too, I like this, somebody pointed out, well, Brian, I think this is quoted in Canadian dollars. And so if you take the exchange rate into effect, actually it's not too out of whack. So good analogy of, even the old man can be corrected by social media and the public and stuff, and that's great. But don't really want to get too sucked into FOMO buying this kind of stuff. And frankly speaking, I actually like the idea that whatever, and I guess now we have to use this high, $12, what's that, $14.24. Usually these IPOs are at about 50% of what the buy comes in at about 50%, whatever the sort of out of the gate peak is. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I will be watching this as time goes by here. Did a little bit of nanny nibbling here for Hut Mining for TRI's corporate account. I would like to be a shareholder of this company. If Bitcoin does have to crap out, I wouldn't be surprised if Hut has not officially bottomed yet here. I'm not really going to say this is a pound the table, but just full disclosure, I do like the idea of TRI accumulating crypto. We do have actually a TRI specific corporate account now, dollar cost averaging into crypto. And I might make the same argument. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging for my retirement plan into QBTC over time here. And I do like the idea of accumulating stocks like Hut Mining as crypto miners through this weakness. But I could fully understand that if we do have to come down here a bit on the corn itself, we're probably going to see a bit more price weakness out of the crypto-related stocks. Full acknowledgement there. Heading on over to the corn itself. We had spent a lot of time, of course, yesterday in the broiler chicken shows going specifically through this, and I still like the idea of this as a fractal top, and all I did was just simply replicate this price action and overlay it. This is called market symmetry. Not a big surprise, 38.2s acted as support. This was also a reload zone just off of this particular range. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Think at na levels, so we're sort of going through that process of replicating this kind of action over here. Also, too, on Mondays, we have a site update. Sjord is diligently working away on bringing the screeners online. Super stoked about that. And the dashboard, like you saw at the beginning of the video, starting to fill out nicely, so we're getting some usable information. But Sjord also, in his own right, has turned into a very good trader. He's super jazzed about using things like Bollinger Bands on RSI to help him sort of frame expectations. And it's interesting through his report here today, we can actually see the bands are starting to tighten up. They're still kind of wide, so we'd like to see that tighten up a little bit more. And then that's sort of saying, okay, get ready. This was a perfect example right here where the bands tightened up and then we got structure and it broke out through the top. So I don't know how this is going to resolve, but at least now a lot of the volatility of that last move is taken out, and you can see the market's getting set up for its next move. One thing I didn't like about what I saw out of the corn today was actually we have on a clothesline basis, we do have a confirmed bearish momentum divergence now. So in that alone means that the bulls got to cool their jets. And been talking to you guys recently about where was our last sort of floor on the corn, and I put this kind of message out to the public today as well. We had these hard candle body close levels on all three of them, corn, Ethereum, Litecoin, which is a little bit far away from each other, but nonetheless, you can see these railroad tracky lows. So where is key support? If we look at the corn chart, and we change this to a line chart, you can see that, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. This is kind of a sloppy, yes, there's a bit of an M there, but, not very wide. So where's key support? Believe it or not, I actually think we could like work our way all the way down here and then turn back up, and we're still in that bull. Stewart himself, through his report, and you can very easily see it through these moving averages, sort of said, well, while the RSI and the Bollinger Bands are tightening up, and we looked at lower time frames, and we could really see they're expanded on lower time frames, so they got to calm down. It looks to me like we're in a moving average sandwich right now, and we're probably just going to bang around here for the next day or two. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And then remember, as we sort of said here a moment ago, really this is my expectation. Choppy, 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 chop. Banging around for the next couple days. So it's not really like I have clear direction. I still like the idea of into the 17th, 20th kind of weekend. We actually set up a pretty big rally, but that's just Brian's opinion, talking out his butt. Remember, if we do confirm this big head and shoulders and we do lose this level over here, that's definitely bearish, and it means we've probably broken down. Do I have any trades here? Nope. Big hurry up and just cool your jets. And as we said, off of things like, and I can't remember what time frame this is. This is a daily. So off of the dailies, we've actually got messages here, more messages. Hey, just cool your jets. And the one thing that disappointed me out of this whole rally was, where the hell were the buyers? Well, buyers just never showed up. And what really sucks is bang, bang, bang. Uh-oh. We just got a volume impetus sell signal right there. Yuck. If the bears wake up and we get a big red bar, that could actually be very troublesome. So, if anything, what we need now is look at everybody just calm down. Bulls, you've gone to sleep, so cool your jets, cool your jets. Bears, don't you dare wake up. We want to see the bears also fall back asleep, and then maybe the bulls can get their act together here. But with regard to volume, this looks very suspicious here. So, be careful, everyone. Sort of finish off this free video for you guys. Couple of altcoins. Of course, these are priced in Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin shits the bed, then maybe it makes sense if these names just stay stable. Maybe they hold on to their lows. Tough to say. I mean, it's a mug's game. Kind of like, does HUT hold its lows? You just don't know. And if it doesn't, if you took a leverage trade, you better get the hell out. If you want to keep an eye on this BitTube, I've heard, pretty good things about this, especially with the way YouTube has been really messing around with the crypto community. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a push towards these kind of applications going forward. This thing hasn't broken out yet, but, if we change this to a line chart, hopefully you can see what I'm thinking here. Actually, maybe we can just go like this. Hey, there we go. So, get a nice close above this level here. What's that close? 001. Well, I guess it doesn't go that far. What does that say there? No. Oh, okay, there it is. So, what does that say? 63. Get a nice close above 63, maybe 64, 65, something like that. And I think actually we've got something to work with. So, keep an eye on it. You never know. You see how these W's work. Woohoo! So, something for you to chew on. Caveat emptor, do your own due diligence. Not telling you to buy. You know how the story goes. Something I am very interested in. And then Kavarkinator pointed this guy out here this morning. Same sort of logic. I mean, I don't know if the W's are going to hold. You know what the statistical probability is. So, I think actually there's a W off of that level there. And, price isn't really that far away. And here comes another W. Yeah, you want to work a stink bid here against this 60-40 level. Risking down to 4,900. That's not bad. What is that, about 10-20% of your money? Could you make any money on the upside if this thing goes? You tell me. Opportunity is now here. Opportunity is nowhere. There's really no wrong way to say that line. It's just really all a question of your perspective. So, there's another idea for you to chew on. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you contributing to the offering here. So, that's your market. Caveat emptor, like I said. If I gave you something that maybe helps your day, then that means that this was a win. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.